Hey, what's up, all my monk mommies and monk daddies? Today we're gonna go over a plus 14 the other side I ran after raid last night. What I will say is this video is probably gonna be more beneficial to newer monks and other tanks in general. We're gonna go over the route, how to deal with the affixes this week, the things I did well, and the areas I could improve. Like, look right here. I'm doing so good keeping these mobs in the wild spirits while not in sanguine. So yeah, the affixes this week are going to be tyrannical. So you're going to want to make sure that you're doing the boss mechanics as well as possible. You'll be fighting them for a lot longer than normal, and you can't burn through them before you have to start paying attention. Next up is going to be sanguine. Things die, they drop a puddle. It's your job to get them out. Luckily, we're playing monk, and we have lots of ways to make that happen for the group.
Some other thing.
After that, we have storming. You can basically ignore this affix most of the time. Just avoid the tornadoes when you can. Finally, as always, this season we have encrypted. More often than not, you're just going to pop all your cooldowns, burn and keep it moving.
I don't know.
Though there are some times when you could burn the others.
I got to use my one brain cell to tank right now. Hang on.
In this run, of course, we have Brewmaster tanking, a Holy Paladin healing. Our DPS was a Feral Druid, an Arms Warrior, and a BM Hunter. I know when I started running these higher keys, I thought optimizing comp was super important. I think I found that most of the time, it's just better to ensure that the people that you're playing with can actually play well.
I'm gonna
It'd be like ensuring that they're kicking when needed, stunning when needed, avoiding bad, and just doing a lot of damage while doing all those other things. So yeah, here's an example of me doing stuff not well. If you look in the bottom left, you can see that there was a ton of healing from sanguine, so I was doing a pretty bad job of keeping stuff out of the sanguine. Another thing is, I thought that the DPS was going to be able to kill these mobs by the time I got down to pull this big mask. That didn't happen. I should have just spent the time helping them kill it. As far as like the monk's teleport is concerned, that's one ability that I really think most monks underutilize. It's got a lot of cheeky uses when it comes to like kiting back. So just keep in mind that it is something that you have.
I think you want to do it during this. Use defensives.
I'm gonna pull this whole platform. So,
as far as my route's concerned, I like to swoop around and clear the platforms up to the Mecha Gun Wing, and then backtrack over to Hakar. On fortified weeks and weeks or groups when your DPS is lacking a bit, you can lust on that first pull, and then it'll be off cooldown again when you go to pull Hakar. If you don't think this is the best route, I mean, you might be right, but you can also suck my butt, need a fart. This is how I like to do it, and how I'll continue to do it. Keep in mind that on tyrannical weeks, you can pull trash pretty big, and that'll help you cut out a whole lot of time. You'll actually see that on this run, the fact that we did these bigger pulls did help out in the end,
We're gonna
since
just
we
kill
made
this
some
mask.
mistakes later in the dungeon. One other thing that you do want to make sure that you do while you're tanking, at least if you're in Discord, is that you are communicating with your team. You kind of are the leader of the group. You get to dictate what's going on. So the more you're able to communicate and say what you want or what you need, will really help facilitate like clean runs. I know when I started tanking, I had some concerns as far as being more assertive in the group and being insecure about like what I do and don't know about it. If you're playing with people who are being a jerk, you probably just need to find new people to run your dungeons with.
Yeah, we're gonna kill Vi on Hakar. Yeah. Make sure you down him as quick as possible. I got first stun.
So like right here, I communicated that I would be grabbing the first stun. Having that type of communication in your group will help so that you're not overlapping cooldowns, stuns, interrupts, stuff like that.
There's unlucky crits, it don't matter.
Right here's a place where we messed up. We accidentally got the Woe Drifter instead of so not optimal, but I think it's important that you understand that going through these, you don't have to play absolutely perfectly. which is one big thing that it took me a while to learn. There's nothing really exciting going on right here, but I will say that I love the 4-piece with the set right now. If you look at the healing that I have going on, um, I've never felt so much so that I'm in control of whether or not I'm going to die while doing Mythic Plus. So if you don't have your 4-piece, quit being a bum and go get that thing.
Don't do Aaron.
I think it's really important
Do not.
that as a monk, you remember that you have a ton of utility. So on this pull, I was able to do a leg sweep and stun everybody, and then wait for them to start casting again, and then throw the ring a piece, so that way we were able
I'm
to
gonna pull
do this
back
pull
once we kill this guy.
without having to use the urn. I see a lot of groups that like to blow the urn on this pull. I prefer to use it on the second pull, the one that's the last one in this hallway. We tried to do it on this,
Just everyone
but
hide-
two of the
hide
guys
on
weren't
my
actually in
body.
Discord, so they didn't hear the call out. And in fact, I actually dropped this Sanguine in a terrible spot for me to use the teleport to get back and pull everything over by the urn.
Alright, hit the urn once they get over this way. I guess they're gonna pull aggro up me.
Another really important thing to do is just make sure that you maintain like good positive mental attitude. Like this pull didn't go as I wanted to. I've seen plenty of tanks that would get super upset and triggered. Really, you just gotta go with the flow, enjoy it, and a lot of times you can still get through the run even if there are some mistakes. So on this run, our damage was really good. We didn't have heroism back up, so I wanted to kill Vi so we could get the haste buff. There was some miscommunication. We still got again. You just got to roll with the punches. It's not bad. I would have preferred the haste, but pretty easy. When it comes to Hakar, it's straightforward. You just want to make sure that you use the defensive before Blood Shield, and then you can burn down this guy pretty easily. That said, if I'm being honest, I don't actually think that I used Celestial Brew at any point when I should have. I was kind of just zoned out. So another thing that, an area of improvement. This is a tyrannical week, so this is going to go on for a while. We're going to speed through this part. There's not really anything interesting or more to say about this boss. Okay, so we finally went ahead and killed this guy.
Don't spread the void.
Easy. From here on out, the dungeon really isn't that hard.
It's easy peasy from here, guys. Except for the trash in the Arden Wheel wing. We just gotta be good there, right? Yeah, I got my time trap ready. I don't know. I'm happy that you have it on your bar, but I don't know if that's the right call on Sanguine Week. Oh, yeah. I got on Sanguine.
During this run back over to the Mecha Gun wing, me and the guys were talking about like the mistake that we made as far as getting the instead of the buy. So I mean, it's good to also be able to recognize the mistakes in real
Yeah,
time.
that was the plan, was to do buy so that we had the list. Right.
This right here is just a whole lot of really boring trash. There's nothing really to, talk about, any real commentary. Right here, I mean, I decided to pull a bit bigger after I saw that the hunter dropped the wild spirits. But again, on tyrannical weeks, you just go big. You really don't have that much to worry about, especially if you're somewhat geared. So yeah, going into this next boss, what I will say is that we seriously shit the bed on this fight. A lot of mistakes, a lot of deaths. Again, for the longest time, I figured you had one or two big mistakes, and you wouldn't be able to finish timing a key. That's really not the case. You really can. You just gotta continue to play through. So here, the plan was
Lust
to
whenever people lust in this
get the
place,
since we had Lust. Didn't happen. We got the buy. Not a big deal. But we did proceed to just miss every single stun. So that was pretty cool. I think the last stun we missed resulted in 2 deaths. We had to get battle reses for our healer and one other person in order to finish the boss.
I just lust now.
Actually, watching it now, I see that we didn't miss all of them. We just missed the most important one right there at the end. So that is unfortunate. Now, what you will see is a cameo
We didn't
from
see
the
that
cat
last one.
in the background of the cam here in the moment. And that's the really important part of this. One thing that I didn't realize that a lot of people didn't realize is that as a tank, you can actually catch most of the mechanical bombs or whatever on this boss. When she starts casting, if you just spam right click on her body, as long as there's not any other character like a melee character or a pet in the way, you can actually just get the right click off and prevent anybody else in the group from having to go grab the bombs.
I missed it.
It's one way to really make this boss a whole lot easier. There's a whole lot of mistakes on this boss, but we still pulled it off, and we're still looking really good on time. So, again, it's kind of a place where you do bigger pulls and clear out the platforms pretty early, and you can set yourself up for success.
Good job.
A couple things. First, this druid's cat form is dope as fuck. And also, I mean, I don't really pay attention to the meta, but as I understand it, feral druids are not great. This dude fucking pumped. I was very surprised.
hit it. Hit the urn.
Go on. Like the lag. Everything cold and it's
So I like how on this pull I just kind of let Harry's ass get eaten by that death speaker. He even called out like, "Hey, I'm getting attacked," and I was just tunneled. So
Was it her?
don't
That speaker.
don't do that. This is also another pull where I did a terrible job of managing the sanguine. I think we probably had to kill these guys like 2 times over just with all the healing. So do good and don't let stuff sit in sanguine.
We're like real good on time, so unless we really fuck this, I think we'll be in good shape.
I think when you're playing a role like a tank, it is really important for you to go back and look at your gameplay, so you can see like where you did do things that were optimal and things that were not great. There's a lot more that you can learn from that when it comes to tanking versus maybe like DPS.
There's stacks come up here.
I'm sure with healing, you can also see like where you might have been able to better utilize your cooldowns and stuff like that. But with tanking, you really are dictating like what gets pulled, what doesn't, what routes work, which routes don't. So it can seem dumb and annoying to have to do it, but I know that I've like gained a whole lot of additional awareness just by going back and looking at my footage. On a non-Seguin week, I would have just pulled all this over to the pillar and then busted the urn. I just think that that's a tough pull to do while Sanguine's going off. So I did spend more time just kiting this around. I think it worked out fine. We still utilized the urn just a little bit later and kind of split the pull into 2.
What the?
only one.
No. Now?
This is another example of just using your utility.
Sit
So
down for a
I
second,
waited
sit
until
down.
the urn went off and then blew everything
Alright.
back so it wouldn't be stuck in
Sit
the
No,
sanguine.
I said no.
There was a little bit of a miscommunication between me and the Night Fae when it came to busting the urn, but again, it all worked out. This pull was pretty easy, despite the bad sanguine management. If you look at the healing meter, you can see again there was a whole lot of additional healing that didn't have to happen. This is about to be a whole lot of more just boring, like trash you gotta get through. There's nothing interesting to comment on, so we're just gonna zip through it all.
I'm going straight into boss. Let's stop the rip. Should we let? Yeah, I think we lost this boss. No?
Yeah, this boss sucked.
On this boss, we actually did pretty well. Maybe not the greatest on the debuff management. I think on a higher key, we probably would have got melted. But yeah, simple, easy boss. No crazy mechanics you really got to worry about.
Get that debuff off Fuzzy.
What you're about to see right here is how to just
You probably want to type it since the other's already.
really, really try to tank, nuke, destroy,
You should probably come with me.
turbo
Okay.
fuck a key.
Yeah, that's right.
We made so many mistakes, and the only reason that we were able to still time this
Isn't
key
that like a big difference
was
with
how
the
well we
solo?
did earlier in the dungeon. So, yep, just basically try to not do the things that we're about to do. I don't know if anybody else or any other tanks have this problem, but I really feel like it's difficult to group the encrypted affixes on this one. I have just screwed a key over by not grabbing the affix at the beginning of this pull. So just make sure that you do grab the little guys.
I wonder if Vi is better. I need my cooldowns reset, but
Up through here, everything's looking fine. We're having a good time. Everyone's dodging. We're getting ready for the phase. It's all looking good. But trust me, it's all getting ready to go downhill.
I got a cat on my lap.
Not even this super cute kitten buff was able to prevent us from messing up on this boss. So Harry and I were able to go through and kill this guy. In fact, I'm curious if I would have been able to solo it with Touch of Death up. I probably could have blown cooldowns and Harry could have gone to help one of the other DPS. But two of the other DPS weren't able to kill their Mazala and click their totem. So we go back and have to do this again. And then we actually are lucky enough that we get to do it again because we didn't pay attention and split the damage between the two Mazalas that were left. It is rough.
That's why we can't have nice things.
I'm sorry. I popped my trinket and everything. I thought I got it. I didn't.
Like I was saying earlier in the video, I think a lot of this is probably going to be more beneficial to people who are newer to tanking as far as like how to get through this dungeon and time their keys. But I mean, we all got to start somewhere. I know there's a lot of stuff that I wish that people had talked me through rather than just doing a whole bunch of trial and error. The plan would be to continue to make some of these videos, both with raid bosses as well as with Mythic Plus runs. If you have any questions, you can pop them in the comments, and I'll probably get back to them. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy monk tanking. It's pretty fun. The amount of skill that it takes to do it is not a whole lot. If you're somebody who doesn't want to have to focus so much on their mitigation, and wants to be able to focus more on doing mechanics, whether it's in Mythic Plus or in Raid, you can really get away with just brain deading all of your abilities, and dodging this stuff and focusing on the mechanics.
Wait, there's a whole nother one?
Oh,
No,
there was.
Oh,
Yes, there is.
shit.
So yeah, as you'll see, even on a
We got 8
14
minutes,
with
dudes.
lots of mistakes, as long as you're not like fully wiping, you can still definitely time keys. Just stick with it. Don't tilt. Keep your mind in the game and focus. It'll all be okay. So yeah, going forward, I think I am gonna do these a little bit more, both with my monk and with my prot warrior, to provide some help, hopefully, to people who are starting out tanking. I know for me it was a little intimidating to begin with. There's a lot of pressure on you to make sure that you do things correctly. What I'll say is it's really not that bad, and it's actually really fun. As somebody who's more or less played heals throughout the entirety of the time that they played this game, swapping to tanking this expansion was a really great move. I'm really enjoying the game again.
Don't worry, I got my anima out of it.
Yep, I didn't get shit either. Yeah.
Potential. But don't you be worried
Fucking
about
horseshit,
a thing.
man.
You're gonna be having plenty of time to learn from your mistakes. You did good, heroes, yeah. But what
That was a pretty good one.
you got coming yet for more to lie. Take your trinkets. and
Right, haste your stats.
get ya.
Not be some big dog one Sunday, but you be nothing before
For
you
healing,
see
probably.
You better watch your tongue, little thing.
There's only one piece
It's,
drops.
Haste. It's haste first, mastery for keys.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's kind of fucked. I thought it's 4 pieces that drop.
I thought it was 2 if you timed, and then 15s it's 3.
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't know. But with that, I'm going to bed, guys.
Later.
Thanks for the run. If we want tomorrow, we have a 15 play call.
I can run that after raid if you want.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that on your is that on your
The hunter.
Oh, okay. Cool. You down
Guys.
you down for that, Harry?